Hey, welcome back to Meadow Green Farm. I'm up in the garden today and I am finally planting my tomatoes. I am only a week behind, but this is something that I've been thinking about for the past 2 months now. I always get antsy and want to get those tomatoes in the ground in time so that I have a good harvest before it starts cooling off. So today I just need to add some blood meal and I'm going to level these out and then I'm going to get to planting. I'm going to be planting some Amish paste tomatoes that we really enjoy for canning, and then I'm going to be planting some cherry tomatoes, and this year I'm going to try a brandy wine tomato. So it's a beefsteak tomato, but it's supposed to have excellent flavor. So I'm really excited for that. As far as fertilizers go, I really don't use a whole lot of fertilizer because I use a lot of compost, and then all the plants get all their awesome nutrients, and there's so many living organisms and organic matter in the soil that you end up not really needing any other fertilizer. I add blood meal as a source of nitrogen, which also helps break down any organic matter that's in there that could be more carbon related, so the nitrogen will help break that down, and that also feeds the plants. And now that we've been making our own compost, it's been really great. Not only is it save money on having to buy things to bring in to put on the soil, but it's just so convenient to have your own compost right there and ready when you need it. It did take us a couple years to get to this point where we had the compost ready and were able to make it during the off season, but now that we have a steady flow of animal waste and garden scraps and kitchen scraps and everything, the compost has been doing really well and steadily composting. So what I'm planting first are these Sweetheart cherry tomatoes. They're an indeterminate also, so they're gonna need the support of the trellis. But I am gonna try and keep them separated from my Amish tomato. I'm gonna put my cherry tomatoes down here at the beginning, and then I'll do all Amish tomato, and then I'm gonna do a brandy wine tomato down at the end of the row. Now these are tiny seeds, and they only go 1/8 of an inch deep. So when you're direct sowing tomatoes out in the garden like this, it's very difficult. So you want to make sure you have good soil contact. So I kind of just move away all of the mulch and whatever's on the top and make sure that it's real fine soil for where the seed is actually going. And I do use these cloches. It works like a little mini greenhouse. It warms the soil. It increases my germination rate unbelievably. And if we have a colder night, I don't have to worry about it because they're all tucked inside and nice and warm. I'm spacing these out 2 feet apart. They could go a little closer, like maybe 18 or 20 inches apart, because they're on the trellis, so you can plant them closer together. But I like to try and spread out my tomatoes as much as possible. They really need that airflow, and it helps prevent funguses and diseases later on when it gets really hot and humid. Okay. Last year we grew the San Marzano tomatoes and the Amish paste tomatoes, and we decided we really like the Amish paste tomatoes the best. So far nothing's beaten it for canning and making sauce, and that's mostly what I use my tomatoes for, is making sauce. So I make just a generic tomato sauce and can it, and then when I go to make pizza, I can make it into pizza sauce, or if I make pasta, I'll make it and use it into pasta sauce. Chilies, so the majority of our tomatoes need to be the canning tomatoes, but it's really fun to grow other varieties each year. So I'm trying out the brandy wine, which I think would sell good down at the farm stand because people like a good juicy slicing tomato. And then the cherry tomatoes, mostly because I like to snack on the cherry tomatoes, and kids do too. This. This. There's quite a few buckwheat seeds in here, which I'm waiting to see because I think that if the buckwheat comes up, it stays pretty low. So if buckwheat comes up, it might act as a good ground cover for the tomatoes. And I don't think it'll interfere at all. So we'll see if it comes up again. But next time I use it as a cover crop, I'm not letting it go to seed. Okay, that's a lot of Amish paste tomatoes. This is the row I'm going to be planting the peppers. I have a variety of different peppers that I'm planting today. A few different kinds of bell pepper, an Anaheim chili, a jalapeno, and a Marconi, and a cayenne. So I'm just going to add some blood meal to this row, get it mixed in and leveled out as good as I can, and then I'm going to work on my spacing. I believe last year I spaced them out about 18 to 24 inches, and I almost think they did better closer together, which doesn't really seem to make sense, but maybe it's because of avoiding sun scorch, and they just kind of support each other. So I think I'm going to plant them about 18 inches apart in this row and see how I do with that this year. So I just laid out all the cloches in the spots where I want to plant. It gives me a good visual of where things are going to be, and also how much room I have on the ends to plant some herbs and flowers. And then I don't have to lug the bucket of cloches around with me. So down here I'm going to get started. I have cayenne pepper to plant first. And I'm only going to plant 2 of the cayenne pepper plants. I got a dehydrator, so I'm excited to be able to use that, dehydrate some cayenne peppers and make chili pepper and chili powder and everything on my own. This next pepper is Carolina Wonder. It's a sweet bell pepper. I've never tried it before, but I've heard it's really good, and it's supposed to be nematode resistant. So I'm gonna give it a try and plant 4 of them. These are Anaheim peppers. I'm only gonna grow 2 plants. I keep changing my mind, maybe 3 plants this year. I can fit in 2 or 3 plants of the Anaheim this year. It's a chili pepper. It's a mild pepper, so I really like it. It's got excellent flavor, and we didn't grow it last year and I really missed it. We have grown it before and used the chili peppers in with diced tomatoes to make kind of like a rotel. And it's really good and makes cooking Mexican dishes really easy to have that on hand. So I did miss that this year. So I'm definitely planting some Anaheim chili peppers. And again, these are just 1/4 of an inch deep, 18 to 24 inches apart. So I'm going with the 18 inches apart, especially because we have a good amount of space in between our rows. So I'm hoping these name tags that Eric made me work better than the little white plastic ones, because every time I've used pencil, permanent marker, it doesn't matter, it fades in the sun and then you're left with a blank name tag, which is not helpful at all. These are jalapeno peppers. I'm gonna plant 2 different jalapeno plants. And these ones don't say what variety they are. They're just the Southern Exposure Seed Exchange hot pepper jalapeno. So I've never been picky about my jalapenos because I don't like them. So I just found this seed and figured I'd give it a try. It looks like just a generic regular size jalapeno. These next ones are going to be the King Arthur bell pepper. They are ones that I grew last year and they stayed green. I never got to see what color they would be if they ripened all the way because they were green, but they were really good. We made stuffed peppers with these ones. So I'm going to plant, let's see, four of these. These last two are going to be Marconi. They're an Italian heirloom and they're a little bit longer, more slender shaped instead of like a average bell pepper. But they're supposed to be really sweet and you can eat them green or red, but I've heard that the red ones are great for cooking and frying and drying. So I decided to try a couple of those, so I'm just going to plant 2 of these, and then at the end of the rows here I'm going to plant some zinnias and basil. I might do parsley and basil down at the other end also, and that'll make it a very full row in no time. It always amazes me how tiny these seeds are and how big of a plant they become. And there are the Marconis. And now I am done. Well, everyone, we successfully got our tomatoes and peppers planted today. We still have so much more to plant, so make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss hanging out with me again. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video, and we hope you have a great day.